so pleased you could make it back to Fred the Head's part 2 of our darling Alistair's speech up in Stirling. Let's have a look what he's got to say, trying to talk to the Scots, whilst looking over his shoulder and hoping that we English aren't listening. But life's tough. We can hear every word, and we don't like it. Onward. The past 10 years have demonstrated that being part of a larger UK economy with our economic framework has allowed Scotland to enjoy sustained growth and stable inflation and interest rates. The interpretation for that one is, our grip on the British economy has allowed us to honour our pledge under the Scottish Claim of Right Oath to favour Scotland. Back to our little darling. This has enabled us to double devolved spending in Scotland over the past 10 years, and in the most recent spending review, Scotland again received its full entitlement under the Barnett formula. Entitlement's the word, notice. Over an extra £3 billion a year in 3 years' time. And of course, Scotland benefits too from spending which is not devolved. Take defence. Over 20,000 Ministry of Defence civilians and service personnel are based in Scotland, and guess who put those jobs up there? Now, for your information, that is 20,000 fewer jobs in England. Onward, Mr. Darling. In Scotland alone, a new deal has helped over 200,000 into work. Tax credits benefit around 500,000 families in Scotland, 500,000 on tax credit benefit. All of these are areas where devolution gives Scotland the power to shape our own investment, he says. He could add, of course, that we at Westminster can stop England having the same options. We don't want competition, do we? He continues. And in 3 years' time, Scotland will have around £30 billion a year to spend as it wishes. That's 3,000 million. Over twice that Donald de War had in 1999. The money is here to invest in Scotland's future. The powers to use that money to drive a prosperous future lie with Scotland. That must be Scotland's focus now, or we will be left behind. Now, the money may be there to invest in Scotland's future, but because it comes from our taxes, England is deprived of her golden future. The English donors, of course, have no say at all in either how Scotland spends our money or how we spend our own money. There's a cartel down Westminster that does that, and they're not doing it very well from English eyes. He goes on. Scottish universities win a larger share of our population of British excellence-based research funding, and in turn produce a larger share of spin-offs and patents. And for every £100 million spent on research, Scottish universities produce 5 times as many spin-outs and 50% more licenses as universities in America. And that's money for the future. That's investment, that's licence money. All going to Scotland. Notice no one's mentioned Britain. Now I wonder why we in England never get to hear these speeches down here. A bit twin-faced, I would say. He continues again. Indeed, today Scotland's trade within the world's oldest and most established single market, with England, is twice as large as it is with the rest of the world. In 10 out of the 11 main industrial sectors, Scotland's trade with England is larger than for the rest of the world put together. The scale of this trade is a demonstration of the benefits of an open single economy built up over hundreds of years. We need to think long and hard before putting it at risk. I thought they wanted to go into Europe. No wonder they fear English nationalism. We might just prefer to follow their example and buy our own goods and patronise our own industry. These people are in a delightful catch-22 situation. They have to tell the Scots how they're looking after them, but at the same time they're informing the British how we are being taken to the cleaners. You might think they've been hung by their own petards. Not a bit of it. I think they knew exactly what they were going to do when they subverted their way into the British government, and they knew what the outcome was liable to be. These people are Scottish nationalists in all but name. Their principals signed the Scottish Claim of Right. Their scam work beyond their wildest dreams. They know that it cannot last much longer, and that is why now they've abandoned all attempts at subtlety. At last the English have realised what is happening, and now they have abandoned all attempts at being subtle in any way, shape or form, and they're just running as fast as they can, grabbing as much as they can before we catch them. Their fear is that the Scots will go for independence before full advantage has been taken of their position as holders of the British purse. They know they can delay the British nationalists with fudges like English votes on English matters and the Grand Committee designed by Scotsman Mr Malcolm Rifkind, who of course supported Scotland having their own parliament and their own separate government, but does his darnest to stop us having ours. He was in danger of losing his Conservative seat in Scotland, so he was parachuted into a safe seat in England. He took the money and the seat, but said he would always look longingly towards his Edinburgh. Bon voyage, Mr Rifkind, and the sooner the better, and shut the door behind you, I say. Now what we must remember is that this is only what they can divulge. It's the tip of the iceberg, because the English are listening. Just think what's really going on, what the true state of the predation is. Doesn't bear thinking about, and that's why you've got no health care, that's why you have no educational facilities, and that's why your country can't afford to build roads, because you're being deprived of your own money. Oh, did you solve the Morse message at the beginning of this little programme? If not, go back and give it a try. Cheerio! Off with his head.